So on this video, I'm gonna be smoking up a delicious tri-tip steak as well as making an awesome chimichurri sauce to go with it. All right, so here is our fantastic looking tri-tip steak. Now I've already gone ahead, trimmed this up the best that I could, then I seasoned it very basically with some salt and pepper. That's all you're gonna want on a tri-tip like this, especially since we're making a delicious chimichurri sauce to go along with it. So this is going to be smoked on my Z-Grills pellet smoker. I've got it set to 180 degrees. When I'm smoking a steak on my pellet smoker, the lower the temperature, the better. This allows the pellets to give out more smoke flavor at a lower temperature, and you slowly wanna bring this tri-tip up to temp. Now I do wanna monitor temperature on this cook, so today I'm gonna be using this TYPHUR sink. This is a new wireless meat thermometer, and it is absolutely fantastic. For someone who likes tech, you're really gonna like this thing. Now, I did a full review video where I compared this to the Meter 2. Be sure to stick around to the end of the video and I will put that there so you can watch it. This thing has so many great features and I go over all that in the video, so be sure to check it out. But I'm gonna be using this today to monitor my cook. So I just wanna get this into the center of the tri-tip, like that. Then we are all ready to get this on the pellet smoker. All right, so we are up to temp at 180 degrees. Let's go ahead, throw this tri-tip right on. And then what I like to do is kind of just bunch it up so it cooks as evenly as possible. That is perfect like that. So let's close this up and let it smoke. So I've set the TYPHUR sink to let me know when it hits 133 degrees, and I can also monitor the ambient temp as well. Now with a tri-tip steak, I really like to bring it up to a hotter temperature than I would other cuts of steak. The reason for that is there's so much intermuscular marbling, it really has a better end result if you bring it up to a higher temperature. That's at least what I have found. So I'm thinking it's gonna be about an hour and a half, 2 hours till we reach that temperature. At that point, we'll pull it off, cool it down a little bit, and then I'm going to give it a direct sear on my charcoal grill to give it that awesome crust that you're looking for in a steak. But in the meantime, while we wait for that tri-tip to finish up, let's go ahead and make this delicious chimichurri sauce. All right, this is a super simple chimichurri recipe. You're just gonna need a little food processor or blender. Now we're gonna start off with some roasted red peppers. Now you can roast these yourself, which I suggest, but you can also go ahead and just buy the ones in the jar as well, which is what I did today. So I'm gonna put in a few of these pieces here. All right, so next, got a little bit of shallots. It's probably 2 shallots here. Throw that in. Some garlic. Got 4 pieces of garlic there. And then I like to add some jalapenos, but you can really add any sort of spicy pepper or chili. I just like the jalapenos. So this is what we're gonna start off with. Then I'm gonna go in with a few tablespoons of red wine vinegar. It's just gonna help get this all minced up. We'll get our lid on, then we will go ahead and give this a chop. All right, so we want this minced up pretty fine, but that should be pretty good for now. All right, so next we're gonna throw in some cilantro. Now I know a lot of the times the chimichurri calls for a parsley. I really like the cilantro better. So let's go ahead and stuff that down in there. And then I want to add some lime juice. So this is a little different than some of the traditional chimichurris, which use a lemon juice. Now since I'm using the cilantro, the lime goes extremely well with that. Now, if you are not a fan of cilantro, you can go ahead and use the parsley and then a lemon as well. But if you like cilantro, I'm telling you, give this a try. So I'm gonna use the juice from 2 limes in this. And we'll just get in the rest of this leftover pieces. The lid back on, and we will give this another chop. All right, so then I like to just go ahead and scrape inside here, and this is smelling amazing already. Then just give it another grind. All right, so we are done with the processor. Just get a container here. Now we'll just take that chimichurri, dump it right into here. All right, so even though this looks and smells fantastic, it is not done yet. We need to add a few more things. So we need to go in with some salt, probably about a tablespoon. Then I'd say a tablespoon and a half of the cumin here. A little bit of crushed black pepper, maybe a half tablespoon. Then I like to add in some crushed red pepper. This is optional, and just add as much as you like depending on if you like something spicy or not. I like this to have a little bit of a kick. Now, the final ingredient is some good olive oil. And we need a lot of this in here. I'm probably gonna add around 1/4 to a half a cup of this olive oil. Let's do this a little quicker. So that's about a half a cup. Let's mix this up and see how this looks. Now it's kind of tough to get the olive oil incorporated, but just keep working it, it'll be fine. That looks pretty good. That's the consistency we're looking for right there. Just check that out. That is some beautiful chimichurri right there. This is going to be so good on that steak. So you definitely want to make this in advance and let all these flavors meld together. And you also want to serve it at room temperature, because if you put this in the fridge, which you can do, that olive oil is just going to start to solidify a little bit. So you're going to want to bring it out, let it come up to room temperature, and really melt that olive oil back down. But this is ready for the steaks, and speaking of the steak, I think it's ready, so let's go ahead and give it a check. All right, this tri-tip's been on for 2 hours. Check it out, looks absolutely gorgeous. So you can see that nice red color it's got. That's some beautiful smoke flavor this piece of meat has, but this definitely needs a sear. So before I pull this off to sear it, I always like to just double check with my Insta-Read thermometer. See, we're about 138 there, 133, 134, exactly what the TYPHUR is reading. So let's get this off and we will get it seared. All right, so I got my charcoal grill with some charcoal lit up already, as you can see. So I'm going to take this tri-tip, just throw it right over that direct heat, and we want to give this a nice sear. And I want it nice and hot, so we can just do this real quick. I'm not trying to cook it too much longer. Give it a little spin. Shouldn't take long. Coming along nice there. Beautiful. Let's go ahead and get this flipped over. You can see we just got a little bit of char on there. That's all we're gonna need for this. We don't want to cook it too much longer because we are already at a very good temp. All right, that should be good. Oh yeah. Check that out. Now this side had a little more fat, so that's why it's got a little bit of a better char, but that is going to be some fantastic flavor. So I'm going to get this off, let it rest, and we will give it a try. So that is exactly why I like cooking steak on the pellet smoker. It is super simple. It takes a little bit longer, but you don't have to worry about overcooking it because it comes up to temp so slowly. You can bring it inside, sear it off on a cast iron pan. That is a great option. If you have one of those sous vide flamethrower guns, you can also use that. And honestly, you don't even have to sear it if you don't want, but I love the sear taste that you get on a steak. Nothing beats it. And I chose the charcoal grill because I love that live fire charred taste that you can get on a steak. But this has been resting for a little bit. I can't wait to try it, so let's go ahead and slice right into it. Now, like I mentioned before, you have those grains going in different directions. So the grains are kind of going here, and then in this section they go like that. So what I'm going to do here is slice it against the grain, then as it turns I'll come back and slice it the other direction. And the smoker makes a nice crust on this thing without the sear. So like I said, if you don't want to sear it, you don't need to. And this thing is juicy as heck. Just dripping juice all over the board. Smells amazing. Now, obviously it's going to be cooked a little more on this end, but check that out. That is a beautiful cut of steak right there. And yes, it's not as red as a rare steak, but like I said, these tri-tips are much better off cooked a little bit longer, I'm telling you. So now, let's get some of that chimichurri, mix that up, because the oil's gonna separate, then go ahead, just drizzle this right over those steak pieces. Oh yeah, this is going to be delicious. So before I give this a try, I'm gonna take a few pictures, so I will be right back to give it the taste test. All right, let me go ahead, grab one of these pieces, make sure I get some of that chimichurri, and just look at that. Here we go. So much flavor, super tender. You have to try that chimichurri. It's absolutely delicious. But this is what you get when you cook it to that higher temperature. You can see how tender it is. You got to cook it hot enough so that intermuscular fat renders down enough. But let me go ahead, cut this in half here. And you can just see how juicy it is. That is ridiculous. This is a delicious steak, I'm telling you. You just can't beat a tri-tip. And with this chimichurri, it is so good. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to give it a like. And if you want to see me do the review on that TYPHUR sink, you can check it out right over here. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe right over here. But most importantly, get out there and smoke something good.